Hi, my name is Bethany Laster, and I am in Miss Vaughn's Exceptional Child class. Today I will be doing 5 article reviews. My first article review is on In Praise of Ordinary Child by Jeffrey Cogger. In this article, Cogger really puts emphasis on having parents step back and let their children find their own gifts and talents. Many parents find a skill that they think their child is very well at, but their child really doesn't enjoy that skill. One of the examples that he uses is a father and son in baseball. The father notices that his son is really good at baseball, so just the fatherly instinct in him, he pushes his son to work harder and do longer practices. And the father starts seeing signs of major leagues when the son starts resenting baseball and his skill and also his father, because that is not something he enjoys. Even though he may be pretty good and even the best one on his team, that's not something he enjoys. And say he enjoys math, but yet his father pushes him so hard at baseball that he doesn't feel like he can talk to his father and say, hey, I really enjoy doing math or working with numbers. You know, maybe I want to be an accountant instead of a major league baseball player. And even if he enjoys being an accountant or working with numbers, then he may become exceptionally well at that. That may be his hidden talent that no one really knows about. So Cogger really pushes parents just to step back and let their children develop and blossom on their own. The second article that I will be talking about is Educational Experience for Students with Gift and Talents by Jennifer L. Jolly and E. Hughes. In this article, these authors focus on students that have gifts and talents. They parallel the special ed students with gifted and talented students. They show that the gifted and talented students do not get as much funding and as attention as those with special education. They talk about how schools will set a average or a minimum requirement for their students, and as long as their students pass that requirement, they don't mess or bother with them. They only focus on those who can't make it instead of focusing on those who do excel that and could become greater and better. And they are really trying to get parents in this article to say, hey, even my student or my child is very gifted, so we need to start focusing on them instead of just throwing them by the way, because every student in Arkansas or anywhere around, there's the policy, no child left behind. So that should include even those children with gifts and talents, because if we don't focus on them, we're just leaving their gifts and talents to the wayside. The third article that I would like to talk about is Engaging Students Regarding Special Needs in Technology and Engineering Education by David White. This was a very interesting article. It really opened my eyes as a reader to people who have disabilities that I don't even realize, how things that I take for granted every day, children and even adults struggle with, such as if a student's doing a paper and they can't spell something, I take it for granted that I can just automatically spell something or I can sound it out and read it. Well, certain students, they can't. So they have developed technology that, such as Siri or voice text, that they can say the word and the phone recognizes the voice and they can spell the word out for them. A study shown in this article is a professor in several of his classes makes the students go to a facility that they've never been before. And as soon as they get there, they come out, they blindfold them, and they have to just go in and find the gymnasium, the lunchroom. They have to play ball just by listening. They have to eat their food by feeling. And it really opens the eyes of these students. And in these classrooms, they develop different technologies that will help these students with disabilities and really allow them to have just as much opportunity as those that don't. My fourth article that I read was Meeting Transition Needs of Students with Disabilities in the 21st Century by Malazzini and Rowley. In this article, these two authors focus on how transitioning from high school into the real world, it's not going as well as it should be. People with disabilities, as soon as they graduate, they're not getting jobs, they're not participating in the community, and they really need that connection with the community. So in this article, these two authors focus on how when the child is still in school, they need to develop programs and different techniques so when this child graduates from high school, they can transition into the real world instead of just being thrown out there and not knowing what to do. They talk about how much, or what the percentage is of people with disabilities that are unemployed, that just sit at home and don't do anything because they have no skills. So they are saying that when they're still in school, that they, instead of still trying to teach them how to read or write, they need to teach them life skills. They need to teach them different trades that they could do. For example, if they can find a job cleaning as soon as they graduate from school, while they're still in school, they need to take them every day and teach them how to clean, and then help them maybe get a part-time job while they're still in school to teach them how to clean, and so they can keep a job once they graduate. The fifth article I'm going to be talking about is Into the Wilderness by Elizabeth and Dean Huggs. This article is about a real-life experience between the two authors and their daughter. Their daughter had a disability. She could not read or write, but she was very gifted and talented in critical thinking. They talk about, the beginning of this article, they talk about going to an IEP meeting, and all they do is focus on the negative things about their daughter. They don't focus on any gifts or talents that the daughter has. And that happens in many schools today. If the child can't read or write, but they are exceptionally well in science, they focus on their literacy and their writing. They try to push for their child to learn how to read or write when the child may never be able to read or write. Instead, they need to focus on what that child can do. An example that I have personally is my uncle. They've tried to get him to read and write, and they pushed, and they finally just focused on what he could not do instead of what he could do. And today he is one of the best contractors around this area, and people call him all the time wanting to do jobs for them. So in this article, they really push for parents and education people to focus on what a child can do instead of what a child cannot do. Thank you.